Hello traders, today is Friday, August 9th, and this is the post-session review. I apologize that I'm getting this out late, but had some things I had to do today in the afternoon, and then ran into some company, but they're gone, and I'm finally able to make this video for you. This week, towards the later part of the week, we managed to get on better ground. For the sake of transparency here, we can see that this is the real account. Made one trade today in the shorter term because I was busy managing a trade on the longer term, which we will get into here in a little bit, and spend a little more time than usual on the longer term, since on the thread you guys have been pushing me to do that. I can make a video specifically on the longer term, but again, the strategy is not much different. More than the only thing that really changes is the scale, and with a larger scale you do have a little bit more freedom as to how to plan your trade, how to scale into your trade, and other options that may give you some different options that you don't necessarily have on the intraday or on a smaller order flow, just because you don't have a lot of room, and it doesn't make much sense to average in a better price by 15 or 20 points at times. Now, I will say that the market has expanded and these swings have become even quite large on the regular term. Unfortunately, you're not seeing a lot of what I do on the longer term on the intraday, just because we got into a little bit of trouble with this account and I don't have the option of scaling in. Otherwise, you would see how I treat the longer term will be pretty similar to how I would be trading here, since the swings are larger. I just don't have that flexibility considering the account size that I have right now, plus the trouble that we've gotten into. Once we get the account to a better balance and we're able to trade more than one contract, I think you'll see more of how I handle the longer term from an intraday standpoint, because the swings are getting large enough to be able to have some of that flexibility that I enjoy on the longer term, if that makes any sense. But for the most part here, 305 on the intraday on one trade. We do have 305 here, 311789, 311789. Yesterday we had a small gain of 24 points. Here we had a trade, I forgot the exact value here, but again, we're starting to see how one win changes things pretty considerably from a risk-reward standpoint, right? It's like this was one trade. It was a small trade, obviously, and it was a little better than a break-even. But you saw this is one win for $116. Now, this was when we were trading two contracts. Remember, we got aggressive in the beginning here. We were above that threshold mark, and that was that day. I believe it might have been a live stream. I don't even remember. But we had some significant losses here because we were trading with those two contracts. But as you can see, with the exception of last live stream or the day before or something like that, don't remember exactly, but you know, yeah, these losses were heavy. We had back-to-back failures on large swings, which added to the significant impact to the account. However, we're also seeing a trend of, you know, how one trade puts a big dent in that drawdown and a big push towards recovery, and that's the whole idea. That's the secret weapon. It's the risk reward, having that on your side, managing your trade to give you that maximum possible excursion. It's what really makes a difference, what really keeps the nerves under control, what really helps those recovery efforts. And you can see, one trade alone, $305, where here we had like 4 losses. Here we had like, I think 4 or 5 losses. You know, when you have one win erase a number of losses, or when you can have one win erase a couple of losing days, that's tremendous power that your system has from an efficiency standpoint, from a recovery standpoint. But what we do need is we need to get out of that, you know, rut that we're in, where, you know, we have back-to-back expectation failures. Your swings are large. It's a small account. It's vulnerable. Yeah, it's vulnerable. This, you know, in the hands of most people, I believe, you know, it's been argued even today with my group that, you know, 45 sorry, $5,000 may be too small an account for these conditions. And to an extent, I argued the fact that, yeah, I believe for the most traders it is, but not because I'm better than you guys, or I've been doing it for a long time, or I'm in control of my emotions. No, I believe that this is a small account that in most hands may be too small of a balance to trade in these conditions. But I believe humbly in my hands it's not. And again, I'm not saying this because I'm better than anyone, but because I hold total control of three components that make me the trader that I am. Okay, one is I have a trade plan that has a positive expectancy, right? Two is I have a money management that complements my strategy, right? And three, I have the discipline to see both of those two other elements that are super important stay in check. And yes, I'm going to have undisciplined days. Yes, I'm going to have moments where I'm not going to have that trade because of a rotation issue, or because like the other day, I passed on a trade because of the risk, only on the risk when my trade plan had me in it, and that would have been a trade that would have been like amazing. But despite those days, I'm pretty consistently on the trade plan, on the money management, and on the emotions. And because of that, I think that as vulnerable as this account may be to the overall market conditions, it has the strongest possible chance of what? Succeeding and thriving, because I hold those three elements in balance, where most traders would find that with these with the small account, with the volatility of the market, with all of these elements, the drawdown and all these things, one of those three components is definitely going to break apart and fall apart, and then your account is in fact doomed. But I'm not here to prove that I'm Superman, or that my way is the only way, or that just the need to feed an ego or anything like that. I'm just simply here to show you guys that futures is tradable with small accounts. I'm here to show you that even in extreme market conditions that we are experiencing now, and most of you can agree that the conditions that we're experiencing now are pretty extreme, right? Pretty dangerous, and leaves you in an even more vulnerable position. That having a system that you can take a hold of, okay, manage the three components that make you a full package trader, okay, that even a small account has a better than average chance of surviving. That if you are in control of your process, that if you are that your process has safety measures like money management, and that you are in 100% control of your trader, or even 98 or 95% control of your emotions, that even in extreme market conditions, even with a small account, even where the leverage is greater here, that you could find a way to compete, and compete efficiently, compete effectively, that you can take hits, many hits, hard hits, and still live to fight and thrive, and try to live to fight another day. But none of that works if you are not a full package trader, okay? And that's what you should strive to become, okay? First, you need to have a trade plan, okay, that's wrapped around your mindset, your way of thinking, your skill set, your analytical skills, okay? A trade plan that you vetted to have a positive expectancy, because that's going to build that belief system, okay? And that belief system is what's going to help you get through what? The emotional component that comes in when you start taking on losses, when you start taking on drawdown, when you want to take profit early because you lost the last 5 trades, and your trade plan says you need to suck on it, and you need to suck on it. To not say, oh, I'd rather take a 5-point hit now that the trade doesn't look like it's healthy anymore, instead of taking a full 40 or 50-point hit. Your trade plan doesn't say to do any of that. And the moment you start doing those things, you no longer have a trade plan. Your account is already doomed. Okay, you need to put that in check ASAP, or you're going to be shit out of luck. Okay, I mean it more than anything. I am being 100% clear, 100% transparent with you guys. Okay, that yes, you can trade this market effectively and efficiently, with a small account. We did it with we're doing it with $5,000. Yes, we got into trouble, even big trouble. Look at this, and we're still here fighting, digging it out. And we're going to keep fighting. That we've had 14 days, 14 trading days of opportunity, and the account, although we're not in profit yet, and I expect to get it back into profit. It's important to understand that this means you had 14 days of being able to compete in the most hostile of market environments, taking hits, getting beat up on large risk, okay, with a small account size, with a trade plan that has a positive expectancy, stacking losses, very close together, more losses than winners, and we're still here duking it out with the market day in and day out, not letting the emotions, not letting anything interfere with our process, with the exception of a trade or two that I wasn't able to get in. One that I, like a bonehead, didn't follow my trade plan, and and the account will be in even better shape today than it was, than it is now, because my inability to take that trade. So, I mean, I'm saying this and saying this and saying this and saying this because I want the wake up to come. Okay, I want to see the excuses go away. Okay, I want to see you guys own your process. I want to see you guys own your trade plan. I want to see you guys own your discipline. Okay, make no excuses for yourself or anyone. The market's not untradeable. People with small accounts cannot compete. That's a bunch of garbage. Okay, we've been competing for 14 days. We've been getting hammered, kicked, beaten, whatever you want to call it. Okay, but we haven't allowed that, okay, to get us out of our trade plan. On the contrary, it made us dig in harder, and we are, still fighting, but we are already in the process of recovery. And I know that if we continue on this path, then our account has the maximum possibility and probability of what? Full recovery and on to profits. I know that with 100% certainty, as long as I stay with my trade plan. Does that mean that I'm going to recover? No, it does not mean I'm going to recover. Does it mean I'm not going to get into deeper trouble with this account? No, it does not. But it means that if I continue on my path and I insist on my trade plan and I insist on the money management and I insist on the discipline, then this account has the maximum probability of recovery and profit giving. Otherwise, it is doomed unless I get lucky. And we don't trade on luck. Okay, we don't trade on hope. We trade on skill, rules, and discipline. Okay, those, and I've said my piece, but you will hear it probably every single day because it's that important, and it's the weakest part of everything that we face as traders. Okay, that is the hardest component. You can have the most beautiful trade plan, you can have the most beautiful rules, but if you can't follow it, then you have nothing. And you can't say that your plan doesn't work. You don't work. Your plan will work fine if you could only follow it. Okay? Is any plan perfect? No. Does every system have losses? Yes. Is there anything in any trade plan that says you can't string 5, 6, 7, 10 losses? No. But your money management is going to help you what? Overcome those barriers. Overcome those very difficult challenges. Look at the challenge. We started with a small account, right? $5,000 compared to what's going on here. We had $200 loss here, $900 freaking loss here, another $200 loss here, another $86 loss here. Then we had a very small win here of $300. Then we had another loss here, and we had a small win. Then we had, a medium-sized loss. Then we had another huge loss. Then we had another significant loss. I mean, that's enough to make anybody jump off a cliff, right? With a small account. Did we do that? No. Did we hang our hat up? No. Have we made a bunch of excuses as to why the market is this, why the market is that, the trade plan doesn't work, this doesn't work? No. What did we do? Follow our rules, follow our rules, follow our rules, and eventually, the tide will turn, okay, eventually your sales will pick up wind again and you'll start heading in the right direction, especially with the risk reward favoring you. All we need to do is just survive through this, okay? Just like we stacked all these losses back to back, we can stack winners back to back. And you know what's going to do to the account with the smooth ratio money management? It's going to propel it into the freaking stratosphere, okay? And I hope to be able to show that to you guys. And I'm glad, so glad that this happened. Why? Because it teaches you a very valuable lesson, okay? That trading profitably is not about knowing what the market's going to do in the next 5 minutes. Trading profitably is not about having a trade plan that has a positive expectancy. That's crap if you can't follow it. Trading profitably is a component of having a trade plan, okay, that has a positive expectancy. That's going to give you what? A belief system to hold on to. Then money management, okay, that complements your trading plan, because that's going to allow you to live to fight another day. Not only to live to fight another day, but to recover in a most efficient way possible, considering the obstacles and challenges that you are facing, being in this position and this condition, the market, right? The long swings, the back-to-back failures, the choppiness, this, that, whatever. Okay, our money management is allowing us to compete with a small account in spite of all these huge obstacles. We've been competing for 14 days now, okay? We haven't made any money, but we haven't blown an account, okay? A very vulnerable account that a lot of people would think that it's untradeable from an intraday standpoint and in these market conditions, okay? I'm showing you that it can be done and that it is being done in the most transparent way possible, okay? And lastly, okay, is that discipline, that emotional control, that if you have a belief system in your trade plan, you have a money management system that complements that, and you can follow that, then nothing matters. The winners don't matter, the losers don't matter. It's just a matter of where's my next opportunity. If I focus on what's that next opportunity, not whether I made 50 points on the last trade or whether I lost 100, what is my next trade? Okay, if I do that, all those other components that you all seem to, over dramatize, over concern yourself with, all those things become a non-issue and filter themselves out. You want to filter out anything, filter out the emotion. By what? By building a belief system in your trade plan, complementing that with a good money management system that you can really tie into your trade plan, and then that discipline, okay? If any of those three components are not there, you will fail. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe you'll get lucky for a while, but eventually you will self-destruct. There's nothing I can do, okay, or say that can change that from being a fact. Nothing, okay? I promise you, nothing will change the fact that eventually you will fail. If you don't have those three components, you will fail, okay? All right, enough on that. Minimize this, minimize that. Let's talk about the intraday trade, and then I'll spend a little more time on this on the longer term, okay? So on the intraday trade, we did get price moving up here. We did get some sporadic price action here to the downside. We did get the expectation failure here. We did get, I don't remember this too much because I was already into the longer term, but let's look at it here. We did get a proper correction, right? So that means that this was a lower high, new structure low, lower high, retest, okay, which meant what? This is still our main swing, which means expectation failure to the upside, right? And then I pushed back to the downside. So we had an expectation failure followed by another expectation failure, which made this the main swing, right? We had complex price action back up here into this general area. I think I talked to the guys at one point about this being an area that I would consider looking for short, but again, I did not. I was managing my other trade. I had a lot of contracts on the line, and well, that's a different story. We'll get into that. And then we had another move to the downside here. So what prompted me to get short here was, let's fatten it up. We see that the buyers in general are in serious trouble, right? We see that no matter what happens with the buyers and they try to come in. This was their only real win here, and it wasn't that significant. And look, the sellers were able to just plow through this area. What did that tell me? That told me that there was no money there to defend. It also told me that when the buyers came in here and the sellers came right back down to retest without a meaningful correction, even though the buyers came in, they were not achieving anything. They were being consumed on every swing that they tried to put in. So as price came down here, we had a similar thing, but on an even more acute scale, meaning more immediate scale. Now we're getting from a candle, back-to-back candles absorptions on the selling side. We're the buyers. They're nowhere to be found. So as the buyers kept trying to come in and they got immediately absorbed here, we're starting to see this main swing here. This was the main swing that we were looking at initially, and price had made a very, very weak new structural low here. Okay, and then price made a correction here. We see that there's no rotation here. Otherwise, I would have taken that. And then price retested this area, and the buyers came up, okay, back to this area here, and I got the rotation. Now I didn't have my stop here because I can see that although we have a new structure low, if you ask 100 retarded monkeys, are these new structure lows or are these a retest, you'll have mixed feelings. So because you may have mixed feelings on that, even though you know what your expectation is, even though you're clear, it doesn't hurt to give your trade a little more room and refer to the most clearest low and high, and that's here and here, and that's what I ended up doing. Was that I gravitated to this main swing here. I put my stop, I believe, up there initially. Not 100% clear because my focus was on the longer term trade. But anyway, you can see the entry was very clean. We had a nice rotation in an area where the sellers had defended very nicely. And as soon as price came down to these lows, I got to a break even. I thought I might have been taken out here because across the board this was a pretty decent area of support. But again, the buyers had not achieved anything on the way down here. I didn't feel very confident that they would be able to rally from here, but I did have a general understanding this is an area of support, and I might have been taken out here. I would have gone short again probably if I would have had the signal. Not probably, if I would have had the signal, I would have re-entered. You guys have seen me do that time and time again. Luckily price rotated here again and rolled over and started moving down. What my target was, initially this was my target, pushing it forward down here. As you can see, once I got to the oh, I can't do that, hang on, because I will stop the recording. So once I got to this area here, I started trailing. As you can see, I trailed on decision candle, and once I got to this area here, I got taken out for I don't know, $305. 305 divided by 5 equals 61 points is what I pulled from here to here. Very nice entry, very nice exit. Market only went down a little more, so I pretty much nailed that swing, which was pretty nice thing considering the last few weeks we've had, right? The last 14 days have been rough to say the least, but it hasn't demoralized us, it hasn't crippled us, it hasn't hurt us. It's kicked us in the knee and we're still limping a little bit, but overall is good. We didn't have a clear rotation here. I was also managing my longer term trade, and I did not get an opportunity to enter here. And I did not pursue the market anymore after that. Got into a debate about account sizes and things of that nature with my private group, and it was a healthy discussion. I think I went a little ballistic on them, so if they are watching this video, I love you guys, and I'm not going to apologize though. And then I think I quit a little early today. Anyway, let's get back to the longer term, because I want to point out a couple of things about the longer term here. So I'm going to bring in the chart here, and as you can see, there's some markers down here with an entry long and a stop out here. Okay, and this was on our live stream when I told you guys, oh, hold on a minute, I had gotten failed here. I got failed on a limit order here, and I failed to adjust my stop loss, and I got taken out here. I lost $50,000 on this trade, simply because I did not realize I had gotten failed and I did not adjust a stop loss. Okay, so I took a loss there because I was an idiot, because I was not paying attention, because I lost situational awareness. Not that that's your fault, but I was so into the live stream, I was so into the intraday and what I was talking about, that I had not realized that I had gotten billed, since it's one of my other monitors, and that's it. But did I get mad? Yes. Did that make me go crazy and start doing all kinds of crazy things and cursing everybody and stuff like that? No. You know, I realized, and I saw this happen, and did my mood change on the live stream? Did that rattle my emotions in any way? No. Is losing 50K on one trade because you made a stupid mistake a serious problem that could derail your whole day, your whole week, or your whole month? Possibly. Did that happen? No. Okay. Why? Because of those three components that we talked about in the beginning of this video. Okay. But why did I get long here? That's the question, Damien. Why did you get long here? Well, there's a couple of visual cues that we have here that suggest to us that the buyers are what? Ready to take a break. Why would I say that they're ready to take a break? Well, let's look at the price action alone from a gross point of view, right? So we have a pretty consistent clear lows, clear highs, right? But what we do have is we have a market that's strengthening, right? Projection seems to be increasing, depth seems to be decreasing. This is a market that's really strengthening to the downside, right? The buyers are not able to get anything freaking going, right? So once the market gets here, we have this huge push down with even a gap lower, which is kind of unusual also, all right? It comes here, and then the buyers try to come in and the sellers come in, right? But now at this point here, let's fatten this up a little bit, and then we'll scale back out, okay? And come Monday, I'm going to be very interested in looking for shorts, hopefully, if this thing doesn't get away from me. And I'll explain why in a little while, okay? But we see that the buyers tried to come in and the sellers were like all over there, right? And then the sellers tried to defend here, and they took their first little hit here, right? Let's look about this sequence. This is what I saw that told me, oh, wait a minute, the sellers are ready to take a break, right? So not that we have an immediate order flow expectation failure, because there hasn't been a proper correction, but now we're starting to see what? The sellers are pushing and they didn't get anywhere. This area held. Now price came up, okay? The buyers were interested in taking up, and the sellers really came in. Look at the selling pressure here, right? That's I'm going to absorb to kill you type of, you know, selling pressure, right? Now it's not effective absorption, and we'll get into as time progresses and we get more intimate with each other, with price and with the charts, you know, and our account gets back to better territory. We'll get more into some of these concepts, but this is not meaningful absorption to the downside, okay? But it does tell you that the sellers are here. What did they get for it? Nothing. Were they even able to get back to immediate structure where the buyers should say, okay, let's get back to an area that somewhat looks like support to try to buy, and let's do it at a better price because we're struggling? No, they're willing to say, screw you, I know you're trying to absorb me, but you know what, you're not going to do that. So this was a huge eye-opener for me, from the standpoint that what? Okay, the sellers need to take a break. This market is showing signs of overextension, okay, to some of you guys is exhaustion, okay, and that this market may correct deeper to the upside, okay? Did that big red flag get a confirmation? Yes. If the sellers were here, if the sellers were taking a break temporarily, price should not have corrected off of this much projection momentum, okay? Them willing to still spend some money down here, price shouldn't have never came up to make a pullback 100%. Furthermore, the sellers did try to defend, and what did they get? Nada. Crap, even more crap, and then price goes on to a new structure high. Well, Damien, that's great, okay? But now, where isn't the expectation a new structure low? Yes. Isn't the expectation for price to come down? So why wouldn't you sell at this level? Well, for a couple of reasons. Okay, one, what does my risk have to be? All the way up here, right? Or all the way up here, depending on what my main swing is, right? Are you going to do that when you're trading 2, 3, 4, 500 contracts? Absolutely not, right? I mean, I want to scale in, but I'm not going to, you know, go crazy here. After all, I don't want to do that. Okay, but what am I seeing? I'm seeing what? I see that the buyers want something. I see that the sellers have to be needing to take a break, realize some of these profits, which is going to push price back to the upside to some extent. Now, the longer term expectation is still for a new structural low, right? Okay, but price is seeking higher price action. That pushes me into a what? Complex correction. Okay, so what is the most obvious main swing that I have here, right? We do have price almost making a proper correction here, but not quite. Okay, we do have price making a definite proper correction here. Okay, so I'm like, okay, clear low, clear high, you know, I'm going to look at this for right now as my main swing. After all, I'm expecting a new structural low. Okay, first of all. Second of all, the projection and momentum is so big that I shouldn't expect a deep correction overall here, right? But I am seeing that the buyers are willing to keep spending money up here where they didn't have money to spend, and the sellers need to take a break. What does that mean? That the sellers need better selling territory. They need better selling ground, okay, to feel like they're going to get something out of this. Not to mention that the buyers have money trapped at different levels up here, and they need to go get that money. So why am I going to fight that? Okay, let me join the buyers for now, okay, and let me try to get the SOS3 signal back down. Okay, that's a little advanced for you guys, but we kind of do that with the SOS3 signals in the shorter term order flow. Okay, the only thing I don't do, because of the space involved and there's not much room for that, is I don't take the aggressive C buy, which is a pretty good harmonic component that has you trading the C buy to then capturing the D sell, okay, in the pattern completion. Okay, and usually you're going to see those aggressive C buys in D completions in what? Godly patterns and bad patterns. Okay, that's why those tend to be my favorite patterns here. We'll talk about that a little more as this video progresses. I think this video is getting a little longer, but there's a lot of value here. Okay, so off the bat, what do I see? Okay, well, let me draw my fib. Okay, this is what I'm considering for right now, for all intents and purposes, based on my initial expectation of a very strong market to the downside, that the buyer should not be able to take this all the way back up, that it would be a little pointless and ridiculous for me to assume the risk of taking the trade up here. So what's the most obvious is here. Okay, that's like the requalification process of a shorter term order flow. What is the market respecting? What boundaries is the market adhering to? What is emerging? Okay, so we have this as a main swing for the moment, and it's still in play. Okay, we see that the market, okay, the sellers were not able to get anything, and once price got to the 618, we've had a couple of pretty significant selling landmarks here, right? Selling zones that the sellers were not really able to get anything from. Okay, which tells me that from this point here, we were still expecting a higher low and a new structure high. Now, I wasn't going to get long here because look at my risk. Where does my risk has to be? Okay, so I'm saying, okay, this is what I see. I see an aggressive C sell area here. It would be an area where I would typically be getting short at, okay, but at this point the market had run well. I mean, again, this is 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not here. So when I got to the computer, I see this. I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here? I looked at all these. I already went through what I saw visually from you. I'm like, okay, is there a harmonic play to the upside here, an ABC or something else? And I see, okay, 618 golden zone. I see the seller did something here. I know that the buyers like hell defended this. I know this is going to be defended again. I know these areas are going to be defended. They're serious about taking price higher. Otherwise, they wouldn't have outspent the sellers here when it was easy for them to possibly sell again. they're exhausted. They needed to realize those gains, and that's going to create a vacuum and easier price movement to the upside than to the downside at this. Now, at higher levels, that's going to change, and that's what I was playing at. But is there an opportunity here? Okay, so what do we have from a harmonic standpoint? Well, we have a B, C to possible D. I'm expecting a possible complex correction because the buyers achieved something that they wouldn't have normally achieved, right? So that should give you a heads up. Maybe we're going to get a complex price action into to the upside. You know, there's an opportunity to get long here. After all, this market has been bullish since, you know, for a very long time, and this is our first real bearish move to the downside that's been pretty significant in my eyes, and everybody's talking about it and everybody's scared about it, blah blah blah, you know. So anyway, to make a long story short, I'm like, okay, I have a B, C, possible D. I also have an X, A, B, possible what? And the fact that I got to the 618, okay, not to the 78.6, so I'm not thinking butterfly, right? I got here, what am I thinking? Gartley. What is the C? 618, okay? Now, why did I put my entry order slightly above the 618? For a simple reason that where's my footprint, okay? Remember, we find confluence, we find areas that have a footprint. What were we looking for here? Buyers. Look left. Where are the buyers? Right here, okay? Where are the buyers? Right here. So what did I do? I took the happy medium, right? I didn't get it this low, I didn't get it this high, I got in the middle, right? And that was my limit entry. I had it there, okay? And then we did the live stream, boom, I got filled, and then I didn't adjust it because I didn't realize I had gotten filled. And my initial entry, I think, has a 100 or something point stop, or 50, I forget what it is, you know, because the moment I get filled, I immediately adjust my take profit and my stop. Only I failed to do that like an idiot, and on, I believe it was 100 contracts, I took that hit, and I lost a 50 grand there. But then, okay, you know, we can't dwell on that. Mistakes happen, you know, sometimes we do stupid things. I can't let that derail me. What was my second plan here? My second plan was to what? Get short, right? After all, the expectation for a new structure low, and after all, we are expecting for this market to push lower, okay? Which pushes me to my first entry here. So why is my first entry here? Remember, I tell you that my first entry is before I originally want price to where I ultimately want to get filled out, because what? I want to be able to scale in. I want to average in a better price. I want to be in a trade with, you know, 500, 600, 700 contracts. I don't want to be in a trade for 300 contracts. I'm at a different scale than that, but I also don't want to enter all 500 or 600 contracts in one particular place. That's also somewhat retarded. I'm going to get huge slippage. I'm not going to have an opportunity to now to have other options from a trade management standpoint. Okay, so I'm going to enter a little early. So I picked this area for the simple fact that, not that it was a significant area of structure, which I usually pick out anyway, but simply because, you know, I saw that at this level here, the seller started getting a little more wanting to get short here and defend this territory here. However, price was able to get above that. So when you look left here in this little area here, what do we see? We see an area where the buyers tried to come in here, okay, and they got absorbed, and price started moving down, okay. So this little area here was important for me, okay, to say, okay, I definitely want to, at the very least, start there. It would be the aggressive C sell area to the ABCD pattern, which now that's what I'm going for at the very least, because at this point the Gartley has not completed, right? That will complete slightly higher, okay? And then I added to my trade where the next footprint was, okay? Where my next footprint was, look left, okay? That's where I added, okay? Now, I added a little. I usually have more distance between my averaging size, but I mean, I didn't have much other areas to really scale in. I'm already entering deep on my first position. My second position is somewhat in the same area where I do have the next level of selling that actually mattered. So I'm like, you know what? I know it's a little early, but I'd rather take the chance there and not have an opportunity to scale in case this rolls over. After all, I saw the sellers actively trying to sell this area, Okay, my stop was still up here above this area because that's where it has to be. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, Damien, you're in. I'm not going to say how many contracts I was in here. I'm not going to say how many contracts I was in there. Okay, but now I need to really average in a much better price up here where there's D completes, where the Gartley completes. Okay, so as price moved up, okay, my entry order, my original order, my limit order for my my heavy duty averaging in price was 378 where price is right now. I did not get triggered there. Price went to 376. Okay, here, let me show you, which really pissed me off. Price went to, oh no, 371. No, my entry, I didn't get filled by 3 points. So no, I was at 76. My entry order was at 376. I know that for a fact because that's where I put it. So 376 and price went to 3 points. Let's see. I believe it was 3 points because I looked at it and it pissed me off. Yeah, 373 and I was at 376. I didn't get filled by 3 points. So as price came down, okay, now we have what? A shorter term order flow. I want to say it's immediate, but we do have a really immediate lower close, right, where the buyers fought off the sellers here. Then the buyers were able to come up and the sellers defended to make another low. So what does that tell me? The sellers are serious. Okay, they're here, they're absorbing. Okay, this is where it's going to come in. So I set my limit order in. Okay, I moved my limit order from 76 to this area, and I just got tagged. Okay, and you talk about slippage. My average in price was from here to here was in the middle, right? Because I averaged in the same number of contracts, and then I just kept getting boom, 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 as all my contracts, all that slippage, and averaging in came in. I actually ended up getting triggered there, but at my average in price, I don't remember the exact price, and then the market just started tanking. So what happened was, as price started coming down, okay, I was up a significant amount of money here. So I did let some of those emotions manage my trade. I was in on 3 positions very heavily. I did not want to let all that profit go back to a break even, so I started trailing aggressively. This is an area where the buyers, you know, the 130s were a significant area of support. It's further back. I think you'll be able to appreciate that more. We see some traces of that here. I don't want to waste too much time here, but this was an area where, you know, I'm like, okay, if price is going to find support, it's going to be somewhere around here. So I got aggressive and I got taken out for 200 and something points on this one, 50 something points on this one, and I had lost, I think, 40 points on this one. So overall, it was an averaging in of 3 positions that ended up to a very nice gain for the first half of the month, and putting us in really good position for the month. But that's how I handled this. I went into a lot of detail today. I know some of this may still be over your heads. I know you guys talked about how you may be able to apply some of these longer term strategies on the micro futures. I think that that's not a bad idea. But what do you, I don't know, you can, I'm not going to say it because it's probably not me worth, you know what the hell, I'm going to say it. If you're having a hard time managing a trade for 20 or 30 points, okay, how hard is it you going to manage a trade when your profit target is 200, 300 points, 500 points, 600 points? Okay, do you have the emotional component that you need to be able to be patient enough to let those trades go to, from, that you're up 60 points and you're down 80 points and you're up 200 points, and to see those rules play out long term? Can you, or do you have the capability emotionally to do that? If you can't do that with 20 points on the line, 30 points on the line, it's going to be almost impossible for you to do it when you have 500-600 points on the line. That's just something that I believe, you know. I hope you guys will prove me wrong. You know, we will get to these accounts. We will get there. Your account will get there. I mean, hopefully we'll get to do this together for a very long time. Okay, but okay, you can do this on a somewhat of an intraday scale, and when the order flow becomes extended, like we have extended swings even in the intraday where we have 100 plus swings, we can deploy these tactics. The only issue right now is that we started with a very small account, okay, $5,000. We got into some pretty big trouble with it, okay. We're duking it out with the intraday, okay, but once we get there, we will be able to deploy these tactics, these techniques, okay, into our intraday strategy because the order flow supports it, okay. Right now it is what it is. Right now I can't even rescue a trade effectively, right, because I can't add to my position. So I have to rescue my trade or get a graceful exit the hard way without averaging in a better price to give me options. I have no options. I just have to deploy the rule, you know, of minimizing risk. It's the only thing I can do. But I can't average in a better price to get out at a better price. I don't have that luxury. My account can't handle that. So I have to work within the limitations and the capabilities of the account. So I know this lesson was probably longer than it needed to be, but I think that you guys have asked enough. I think that there's enough value, and I think that this example is really, really good to merit that extra time that I'm giving you on this. We're going to get into harmonics. We're going to get into the patterns. We're going to get into all this, okay? But let's learn to walk. We're crawling, okay? Let's learn to walk. Let's get that trade plans ironed out. Let's get that money management under control. Let's get those emotions, finally, those emotions, those pesky damn emotions under control so that when you get here, it's easy, okay? If you can't manage a 20-30 point trade, okay, it's going to be almost impossible for you to manage a 500 point trade, okay? And it's going to be very, very hard, okay? And it's going to be even harder you to do it with a small account, okay? So don't worry about this. We'll get there. So, you know, in the week to come, what do we still have here? We still have a Garley completion, right? Where's price? Right up here, okay? Where does the Garley complete? Where's the one-to-one? One-to-one completed already. Right up here, right? Officially completed here. Where is the sorry, I don't have the toolbar on that one. Let's see, hang on. Fibonacci extensions. All right, so where's the PRZ of the Garley pattern? PRC, PRC, PRC. All right. So why is it not the 786? And why didn't I draw it like this? Because that's the textbook definition from a ratio perspective of where that pattern completes. But I like to complete the one-to-one. So my PRZ is in this area, okay? So depending on where that gap opens, depending on what happens, I'm going to be very, very interested in Monday morning, as soon as this market opens, depending on what's going on here, to sell this. Because not only have I made an obscene amount of profit on the way down here, okay, this pattern is still, now it's when it officially completed. Now is when we have good, even better risk reward. I don't have, you know, over 1,000 contracts of risk anymore, okay? So now I'm starting with a clean slate at a much better position. You bet your ass I'm willing to sell this as quickly as possible. The expectation is still for a new structure low, but we got to see what the weekend does to this, okay? I may even be able to enter up here where the risk is even better, okay? But that's the situation. That's where we're at. That's what I'm anxious to see Monday morning. Can't wait till Monday morning to see where we're at with this. But this is where this pattern officially completes. And for those of you who don't really know what the pattern looks like, in case you're looking at this for the first time, what in the hell is the triangle here? Oh, forgot. Sorry. It's like this. This is the Garley right here. Now, this is the highest point, so I have to not discriminate. This is where it completes right here. So yeah, this would have been the balls to the wall, no other information needed other than the sell. You do have a decent area of structure there. You do have some selling footprint. You do have an interest in selling, as you can see before price got into this area, has found good selling. This is a solid place to enter. You may want to wait for a rotation or not, depending on where this is Monday morning. I would probably take a glance at it Sunday night, and may even make an early determination to jump in this Sunday evening. We'll see. But that's where I'm at. I hope this video has value to you. If it does, please post some comments and things like that, so that it can stimulate other people to kind of ask and to kind of see what's on their mind. I want to help you, but I also can't read your minds. It's nice to get the great video and stuff like that, but I mean, take a couple of extra seconds to if you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe, to post some technical comments on there. I think that stimulates more videos. It stimulates good discussions. And if you want to do it in the thread, do it in the thread. If you want to do it on the channel, I will respond. If you want to do it in the community section of the channel, there's fine too. Whatever it is, but we're in this together. I live for this stuff. I hope that eventually you guys do too. It's the most fascinating, most amazing way to make money that I can think of that's legal. Anyway, enough on that. Have a great weekend. I am going to be working over the weekend on those Q&A videos. I've slacked off a little. I apologize for that. But I will get to them. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your support, and thank you for the opportunity. Good trading, guys.